Hey there! Happy weekend between all the holidays, at least some of the holidays. Hope everyone is enjoying their week, even if it's, super quiet and not what was planned, right? That's been the story of this year. Well, anyway, I wanted to jump on today to talk about nutrition, specifically challenges and obstacles when it comes to nourishing our body in a healthy way. So we're just going to chat. If you see this after the live, if you're watching it later on, shoot me questions. If I don't hit on something, I'd love to hear from you. But it's just a conversation, so do feel free if you hop on here to interact, ask questions, and all that jazz. All right, so let's talk about nutrition obstacle number 1. Let's go with convenience when you're out and about. Now, I have a whole blog post on this, Healthy Snacks on the Go, so bebykate.com. Feel free to hop over there for more details on specifics and specific foods, but let's talk at least a little bit about that here. So when you're out and about, what's kind of the quote-unquote classic American go-to? McDonald's, Burger King, etc., right? Pizza. So pizza, if any of you know I was in Jersey Boys, that's a great line in that show. But anyway, that is a common pitfall, and it's not the only option, right? Unless you are in the middle of some very rural area where it literally is the only thing, but you are going to now be prepared so that doesn't happen to you. Number one way to avoid that is always have something with you. It's not as complicated as it sounds, I love RX bars, and Target has a version of them too. They're a great thing to just have in your bag. They take up almost no space. They have a long shelf life, and have that so that when you're feeling like that blood sugar is low, you really need something, you can grab it. It's healthy. Some of the turkey jerky sticks are a great sensible option. What else? Obviously these don't have the longest of shelf lives, but having a piece of fruit with you. If you carry a backpack around, what can you throw in there? What can you have packed at your house ready to go, in a bag that just is your to-go bag, your out and about snack bag, so to speak, when traveling. We could do a whole thing on travel and eating healthy, but that's a huge thing, right? Packing a bag of healthy snacks to go with you when you travel, or when you get to your destination, finding those healthy snacks and then having them with you. So those are some great ways to, if you feel like you have no options out on the road except something unhealthy. That said, it's 2021, almost 2022. There's a lot of healthier options out and about now. Even the gas stations that back in the 90s, all you could find was ring-dings and Doritos and soda, now have a plethora of options for the most part, right? There's still some that you're few and far between, but sometimes it comes down to not necessarily having the healthiest of choices that you'd pick in your life period, but the healthiest option available to you. So let's think of an example at a convenience store. Okay, chips. Let's do chips. Okay, I love chips. I know they're a nice little treat sometimes. And I don't know about you, but if I have a craving, if I'm really tired and whatnot, it's usually crunchy, salty. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. Chips at a convenience store. You might have Doritos. Let's use that example. But you also might have Pop chips. Pop chips, usually the only 3 ingredients, I say usually because there's different flavors, but the main one is potatoes, I believe it's sunflower or canola oil, again, not the best of oils, not the worst of oils, and salt. And we need salt to keep that energy up. That's it. 3 ingredients. We're going to come back to nutrition labels in a minute, but that is as opposed to Doritos, which is 25 ingredients, half of which you can't pronounce, and dyes and so much fat and all of that. So which would you pick there, right? We could do a quiz. Which would you pick, right? Pick the Pop chips. Now, are they going to necessarily be as, I say tasty in quotes because it's up to the person eating it, I guess, but Doritos chips in general are manufactured to be as savory, as addictive worthy, if that's a phrase, as possible, right? The marketers, the manufacturers, they want you to eat more and more and more of their product. So they are going to pump as much possible into those products to get you to want to eat more of them. So Doritos are going to have piles of fake cheeses and oils and all that stuff to make them make you salivate over them, right? To make you crave them. Whereas Pop Chip, still, they've found a nice combo of the salt, fat, crunch factor, but it's way less than the Doritos. So, something to think about there. Other great things I see at convenience stores nowadays, if you're in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area and you know and love Wawa, they have, bowls of grapes and bananas, and they have subs, or depending on where you're from, you might be calling them hoagies or grinders. And, deli meat, no, it's not the best thing for you, but it's better than a fried chicken sandwich. And having, a nice mix of like a lean turkey breast and a good bread, that's even a better choice than, what else could it be? Than a thing of soda, right? Just tons and tons of sugar and chemicals in that soda. At least with the sandwich, you're getting protein and carbs, and that boost of energy there. So a lot of times when we're out and about, it's that, what's the best option I have available to me? Okay, let's see. Another nutritional obstacle and how we can work to overcome. Let's go to those labels. Confusion over labels. Or maybe I should word it as not reading the labels, but instead relying on what the box says. Ooh, I love talking about this one, because what is a marketer's job? To get you to buy the product, right? Right? You know that. So when you see the box of cereal that says made with whole grain, let's see, what is it? What's the one that Cheerios does, the cholesterol, whatever it is, they put these things, they word them very specifically to make them sound as good as possible to make you want to buy them, right? And sometimes, granted, yes, they're correct. This, X product has less sugar than Y product. Awesome. But it still has a amount of sugar in it, right? So hopefully we have, we look beyond what the marketing says. So made with whole grain is a great one to use, because that became really popular. When was that? I don't know, 10, 20 years ago that became a big thing. Because made with whole grain, you could throw in this tiny bit of whole grain in your huge ingredients list, and then you can claim that it's made with whole grain. But usually the first ingredient is still unbleached white flour, which is not exactly a complex carb that will help satiate you. It's a quick absorbing carb that will, give you that energy spike and crash, convert to glucose really quickly. If I'm getting a little too technical, I apologize. I get really passionate about this. So look beyond what the marketers tell you. Look at that ingredients list. That is the first thing I want you to look at when you get something that is in a box, right? Or anything that, or pre-made. Right, a lot of places, grocery stores have pre-made items. There was one I put as a reel maybe a month or so ago here, and it was the pre-made chicken in Target. That is a great option if you're looking for something quick and you need that burst of protein, right? If you're going to have salty chicken versus salty chips, the chicken's going to be the better option, because it's going to give more of a satiating factor. It's going to give you some nice protein, right? Is it still made with processed things? Yes. But it's going to be the better of the options, right? And, grilled chicken is going to be better than fried chicken or a super fatty processed red meat or something like that. Okay, so that's not saying all red meat is bad. That's not what I mean. But in terms of that, like, on-the-go sort of your options there. So at Target, these two chickens pretty much looked the same. They were just different brands. Otherwise, they were both grilled chicken strips, right about like $6 or $7 for serving size of four servings in the container. There it is. Except one had, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it was something like one had like 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, and the other had like 3. Now, granted, we need sodium in our diet. That gets misconstrued a lot, but we need sodium. The problem is so much in America has so much sodium in it that we are getting too much in our diet. So if you're eating processed foods a lot, if you're eating out a lot, chances are your sodium, it's going to be really high because that's a whole other topic for another day, but you get that burger at a restaurant, there is a whole lot of salt pumped into that, okay, before you even put salt on it yourself. So anyway, that's a little briefing on that. But back to that chicken at Target, look, that's a big difference, and if you are someone who doesn't need the extra salt in your diet, you're going to want to go with that 300 something rather than the 800 something milligrams of salt per serving. Because let's say, that chicken, maybe you have it in a salad, maybe in that salad you have salted walnuts or almonds, maybe in that salad you have a dressings have salt in them, maybe in that salad you have cheese is very salty, and all of a sudden the salt of the chicken just gets so much more. Now you're having so much more salt because of everything else in that salad. So just use that as an example. Reading the labels, so that's the ingredients in it and getting into those nutrition facts. Going back to the chip example, one chip might have 10 grams of fat per serving. One chip might have 3 grams of fat per serving. So on the surface, we say, I'll want the 3 grams of fat because, yes, I need fat in my diet, but I don't need the processed oil fat. Okay, right? That's different than, a pure avocado, good healthy fat. Extra virgin olive oil, good healthy fat. The trick with those potato chips, though, 3 grams of fat, let's say the 3 grams of fat one is palm oil or corn oil. Not great oils to have in your diet. The 10 grams of fat one is avocado oil. Now, this gets a little tricky, okay? So, first glance, I automatically think I should go with the 3 grams of fat one. But on further, I say, but do I want corn oil in my system or avocado oil in my system? Avocado oil is a better fat. That said, it's been real processed to get into those chips, right? Just like that potato isn't the same potato that you'd have baked with a nice little, side of something healthy. A potato chip is not the same as your baked potato. The avocado oil in the potato chip isn't going to be as pure and beneficial as, a pure avocado oil put in a pan that you make with your salmon, right? So just some things to think about. This is not meant to confuse you, but it's that awareness. I'm telling you, awareness alone can do wonders for us. So read the labels, the nutrition facts, the ingredients. Let your eyes be open to what we're putting in our bodies, okay? So don't get too up in your head. I kind of got a little detailed there with the chips and the oils and all, but again, not to confuse you, but to say, be aware. If you can read the ingredients and they are foods and you feel like, yes, I'd put these foods in my body, awesome. If the ingredients list contains, monohydramide and chlora blah 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 blah, I don't know what those are, and do you want those in your body? Let's try to avoid that. So, reading the labels. Okay, I know we could talk just about that for an hour, but let's move on. Again, ask questions. Let me know how I can help, okay? Also, getting coaching sessions set up for the new year. So if we want to talk deeper, let me know. We'll set that up, okay? There's a free 20-minute consult call link in my bio, in my link tree there. So, hit it up, schedule a session, let's chat. 20 minutes for free, no pressures, and let's see how I can help, okay? All right, so number 3 obstacle, what's in your house, okay? So I find, for me personally, if it's not in the house, that is very helpful. I'm not going to eat it then, right? If I have amazing, delicious Christmas cookies in my house, I'm going to eventually want to have some. Now, I'm not saying don't have a cookie sometimes, but I'm saying if you are looking to make those healthy changes and have less of the processed foods and the sugars and, et cetera, let's talk about this. If I have a ton of fruit in my house, well, I'm going to be more apt to eat the fruit. But if I have the fruit and the cookies, you know, who knows? What am I gonna grab, right? So do yourself the favor and don't have it in the house. That said, some of you are going, easier said than done. I have a husband who loves this. I have a wife who loves it. I have kids who want pizza every day. Okay. Easy answer is to be like, see if they could get on board with healthier changes. If that is not possible, I get it. It's complicated. Some of you are just like, I just need my child to eat, period, of just get food in their system. Totally get it, okay. We're not going for turning your household upside down. We're looking at simple changes. So what can we do here? Well, one thought, again, this might work for some, might not. One thought is have your own cupboard or your own like pantry section. And those are your healthy foods. They're special. You bought them for yourself. You spent the extra money to get really healthy options. That's your special, you know, make it a special thing. It's a place in your kitchen that's just your healthy snacks, and you're the only one who gets to touch them. See if something like that can help. Another way you could do it, if this works in your family, is having, you know, one cupboard be, let's use the husband-wife example. One cupboard is your husband's. He can have whatever crazy processed food he wants. Ideally, he's on board with you not wanting it at all, but you never know. And you don't go in there. You don't have to look at it. The door is closed. You have your other cupboard that has everything else. So again, you're going to have to figure out and troubleshoot and see what can work for you. But the more that you surround yourself with healthier options, the more inclined you'll be to eat those healthier options. Nutrition obstacle number 4 and how we can overcome. Let's talk about drinking our calories and sugar. Sugar especially. You know, like going back to the sodium, we need some sodium in our diet. Granted, a lot of America gets too much. But when it comes down to it, we need sodium. Do we need added sugar? No, we don't. Now, do we need carbohydrates? Absolutely. Let's not get that confused. But I'm talking about the added sugar, right? The Coca-Colas, the cakes, the cookies, the sugar in ketchup, mind-blowing. So all of those sorts of things, the added sugars we don't need. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather, if I'm going to have added sugar, eat it and savor it and crunch it and chew it than just sip it right down. So, you know, having that soda that has almost 50 grams of sugar in it when you did not need one of those grams, I don't know, think about it, right? Again, awareness. Cocktails, huge sugar bomb a lot of times. Now, again, this is another one. We could do a whole conversation just on cocktails and healthier options. But, you know, if you're going to have something, maybe choose the glass of red wine. At least it has some of the antioxidant properties in it, right? But if you're having a cocktail, you know, don't get the tonic water. It's filled with sugar. Simple syrup, filled with sugar. Now, you are paying for that cocktail. So if you see one you like, and it's like, you know, 3 ingredients or 4 ingredients, let's say, and 3 of them are pretty straightforward. You know, it's just the liquor, it's a squeeze of lemon, and it's a Prosecco. But then it's a simple syrup is the 4th ingredient. You say, I don't need that simple syrup. It's going to be sweet enough as it is. Ask the bartender, you know, I'd love to have this cocktail. Can you just not do the simple syrup? You're paying for it. They're going to say yes. So, I mean, unless you're going to some sort of super fancy, you know, we only do the menu, but that's another story. So, thinking about that, again, awareness. Do you want to drink your sugar? Oh, I have to talk about coffee. That's another really good example. If you're a Starbucks person or you're like get your latte person, check how much sugar is in that. Unsweetened almond milk, plain latte, beautiful. Unsweetened almond milk is actually pretty darn sweet in of itself. They don't add sugar to it, but it has a nice sweetness to it. See if you could get used to that taste, right? Instead of the vanilla unsweetened almond milk latte, which all of a sudden has pumps of vanilla in it, which is a straight up syrup that we do not need, okay? Coffee creamers, whoo! That's one where a serving of it's usually a tablespoon. And the amount of times I see people pour like a quarter of a cup in there and not even think twice, thinking, ooh, it's fine because it's almond milk, or it's fine because it's oat milk. That there's a lot of added stuff in there. So I love to recommend, again, unsweetened almond milk or unsweetened oat milk as your flavor and your creamer. If you say, oh, it's just not enough, start to wean yourself, right? Try the measure out 1 tablespoon of your creamer of choice and then put in some unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, etc., or skim milk, and see how mixing the two, so you're lessening the creamer, adding in more of the unsweetened fill in the blank other thing. See if that can start to wean you off the sugar. So again, some things to think about. Let's do one more. What should one more be? A nutritional obstacle. Obstacle to eating healthy restaurants. Okay, this is another one that could be an hour. Let's make it real short. Read that menu in full. Think before we order. How am I going to feel after eating this? Ooh, it might look divine on that person's plate at the next table over. How am I going to feel after I eat it? Will I feel like, yes, I loved that and my body's ready to go? Or will I feel like, oh, okay, I ate a lot. Now I feel like I need to, work out for 2 hours tomorrow. Like, do we want to be? I don't know. Think about it. Do you want to be in that spot? I don't want to be in that spot. But, and another tip so again, just thinking before we order, like, how are we going to feel? Is that going to make me feel good right now? And sometimes it's the mac and cheese, and that's going to make you feel great because you haven't had mac and cheese in a decade, and it reminds you of, your mom and dad back in such and such a place. Cool. You made that conscious choice, and you are going to savor that because it's special, right? But if you're going to just grab it because you're like, I'm really tired, I just want carbs, and I'm just going to stuff myself with milk and butter and feel awful after, like, no, right? So again, think about it. If you want to get the savory, the extra rich option, make that a conscious choice. I'd say I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to say, oh, I shouldn't be eating this every bite. I'm going to enjoy this. But maybe I'm not going to have the sugary cocktail with it, right? I won't get dessert with it. Or I'll have a banana at home instead of the chocolate cake here, right? So it's a balance. And the other thing about menu items in restaurants is, again, kind of like with the cocktail, you're paying for it. Order it to make it work for you, okay? I am queen of, please, I'll have it on the side. Oh my gosh. And you know what? I'm fine with that because my stomach's so sensitive and I want to feel good at the end of my dinner and I want to enjoy my time with the people I'm there with more than stress about, oh shoot, this is going to give me a stomachache, or oh, I'm going to feel so like bloated after this. No, I'm going to order that salad. I'm going to get the dressing on the side. I'm going to order that salmon. Can you put the sauce on the side? I'm going to, get that steak, but do you have an option other than the mashed potatoes? Like, just ask the question, be nice. They want you, a restaurant wants you to be a happy customer and to come back, right? So you are going to enjoy that meal, you're going to make it work for you, and you're going to feel good about it. Okay, so those were 5 pieces. We went into a lot of depth about it. Wow, how long have I been talking? So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Leave me a comment if you did. Again, reach out if you want to do a consultation about coaching or training in the new year. I would love to hear from you. And share if you enjoyed this as well. I'd love that. All right, have a great day, you guys.